Hello, everyone. This is Howard Fox, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast, where we celebrate individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Tim Roberts is our guest today. Tim is the tourism manager for Mansfield, Texas, where he promotes the city and works to bring groups and events to Mansfield so that they can enjoy the best that Texas has to offer. Tim, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Fantastic. And I love the fact you're wearing some merch right now. Visit Mansfield. Is that available on a store somewhere or?
Putting together a Shopify page has been my New Year's resolution for like 4 years now, but one of these days. But the best way is hit us up at our events. We've always got merch out at our events.
Okay, so next time you have a nice long sleeve and a 3XL, you got to let me know.
Absolutely.
I got the credit card ready to go. I'm all about the merch, by the way. I'm all about the merch. The only thing I have is my water bottle that I send out tickets and or stickers. And one of my clients, Boulder City Chamber, they're now sending out a T-shirt that says "I was a guest on the Best Damn Podcast," which I love. I love it. So I'll send out I have to get my own merch as I was a guest on the Outdoor Adventure Series. Send that to you when I get it. So Mansfield, Texas, for our listeners, where is Mansfield?
We are right in the southern portion of DFW. Basically, if you know where Arlington is, obviously anybody who knows much about sports at all or big attractions knows where Arlington is. We are just south of Arlington. Our cities kind of merge like this, where you can be in Mansfield 1 second and then you're in Arlington the next. So that's the best place to find us, just south of Arlington.
Okay. Now, to further refine my geographic knowledge, Arlington, Texas is the home of the Texas Rangers.
Texas Rangers, Dallas Cowboys, as well as Texas Live. They have a rugby team there, and Six Flags Over Texas, the original Six Flags theme park.
Oh, wow, the original Six Flags. Okay.
Yep.
So as a tourism manager for Mansfield, and again, you're in the proximity to some fantastic venues. What is your role day to day as a tourism manager, and how are you promoting Mansfield, Texas?
Really, we like to say the people who visit us fall into 3 different categories. The first is, again, our proximity to DFW, Fort Worth, Dallas, Arlington, all of those great places. That's pretty much how the tourism department started 10 or 15 years ago was, hey, let's catch all this traffic coming in. So that's a lot of it is just pitching ourselves as a quiet, out-of-the-way place that you can see all the sights, but then at the end of the day, go to a nice, quiet town and not be in the middle of the hustle and bustle. The other 2 things we really have, one is our athletic scene. We have a very strong amateur and youth athletic scene here in the city where we are pretty much booked up every single weekend with some type of huge basketball tournament, hockey tournament, baseball. You can play any sport in Mansfield. We've got every single turf covered for you here. And then on top of that, we are now really growing our arts and special events calendar to try to make us a destination for folks who want to come out and enjoy some really cool special events, some hometown special events. And we're in the process right now of enacting our cultural arts master plan that was put into place, I believe, last November. So we're building out a lot of stuff artistically to kind of expand what we offer to tourists in the area.
Okay. Now, some of the special events, what would be some examples of those?
We have pretty much our big 5 or 6. We just finished this last week our hometown holidays, which is our huge Christmas celebration, tree lighting, drone show. It was packed out there. We probably had eyeballing at 8,000 to 10,000 people show up. So it was a really great event. We have an annual music and arts festival in early April. We have a big Halloween event that covers all month called Haunted Mansfield, but a specific event inside is called Haunt the Block. Just a huge trick-or-treating event in downtown. Our annual 4th of July celebration is called Mansfield Rocks, and that's obviously in usually July 3rd. Almost always July 3rd is when we host that. We don't actually host this event, but the Pickle Parade is something that everybody knows Mansfield for. The Pickle Mansfield Society puts on a pickle parade every single March to correspond with St. Patrick's Day, and has become like a cult hit here in the city.
Okay. Now, I have a request. I'm a very opportunistic podcaster, by the way, and I've already asked you for some photos that we can put up on our show notes. However, one of those photos has to be something from the pickle parade.
Oh, we've
Okay.
got something. We've got something for
Okay.
sure.
All right. Excellent. Now, as far as the community of Mansfield, in addition to you've got the athletics, the tournaments, the arts and events. So it also sounds very much like a really cool, close knit family community as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, obviously, Mansfield is a city that, for the longest time, we're talking 120 years, was that tiny little town. The super small town feel. Even back in the 90s, I believe the population was just somewhere between 5 and 10,000 people. Very tight knit, very small. And then starting in the 21st century, we've exploded to where now we're over 80,000 people who live here. When you include our partners at Mansfield ISD, which expands into some other cities, we as a tourism department essentially service special events for over 100,000 people now. But we have not lost that small town feel. It's still a town where if you want to be involved with your community, if you want to be out there, people still know each other's names. Now, depends on where you live in the town, whose names you know now, because it's grown so much. But the best comment we get from a lot of people, both residents and guests, is that you still have that small town feel with big city amenities. You don't have to drive 45 minutes to get a bite to eat or go shopping somewhere. But when you're here, you still feel like you're in a good small town Texas city.
Okay. Now, when visitors are coming into the area, maybe they've had their fill of a special event in downtown Mansfield or out in the neighborhoods. They've completed their tournament, they've visited the world-class sports that are nearby. How do they unwind in Mansfield, or maybe an hour, 1 to 2 hours outside of Mansfield?
Well, that's where obviously it ties in with what y'all love talking about here. We have a fantastic park system in our city. As a matter of fact, our parks department was just given last year the Gold Medal Award by the Texas Parks and Recreation Society. It's an award winning system. We have a linear trail project that is going to connect essentially every single park in the city from the southern portion of Mansfield all the way to the northern portion. And the crown jewel in the middle of that linear trail is Oliver Nature Park. And it's a spot I send everybody to. I actually work a quarter mile from Oliver Nature Park. So every day at lunch, I get away from my computer and I take a walk down there. It's an 80-acre nature park. Once you step inside it, you would never believe that you are 15 minutes away from the home of the Dallas Cowboys. You would never believe that just outside is suburbia. You really do feel completely isolated. There's a beautiful 1 mile loop around the outside and intersecting trails inside, all sorts of little hidden goodies inside when you go walking, hidden amphitheaters and a windmill, two ponds for fishing that are open to the public. So that really is the crown jewel of our park system that everybody that I send to. It's like, hey, if you've got an hour or two to kill, if you want to grab a picnic, you want to grab a photo, or just stretch your legs, that's the place to go. And then right nearby, we've got our friends over at Cedar Hill. They're the home of Cedar Hill State Park, a Texas state park right there off of the lake, an amazing campground. And then not too far from there is Cedar Ridge Preserve, which is a beautiful hiking area that also features the highest point in Dallas County. Now, that doesn't mean it's the highest point for most places, but for a very flat area like Dallas County, not Travis County, but Tarrant County, where we are located, when you get up at the top there, you can basically see everything for miles and miles around. So that we have a lot of nature right around us that we love to send people to.
So, as folks are exploring the parks and can have the picnic, a nice casual hike, go running through it. You mentioned the ponds where you can go fishing. Is there any special kind of fish there? I just learned how to fly fish this year, so I'm like casting and mending. That's a whole new vocabulary for me.
I'm not a fish expert, so I can tell you we've got your regular fish in there. But what bring in, we do bring in, I believe, twice a year trout, and we actually have them shipped in and stock the ponds with trout. We have to keep it a top secret when we do this. It is hush hush. They'll tell me
Okay.
like, hey, by the way, the trout are coming in, and you can't tell anybody because if it gets out there, we'd have a line of 500 fishermen waiting to get in the next day. So if you're lucky when you're out there, you can do some trout fishing at our local ponds.
Okay. Now, within these parks, and I think I'm going to know the answer here, especially the state parks. There's usually park rangers. Are there educational programs and interpretation programs that are available to the public to kind of educate folks because the bottom line in this country, I mean, I sit at my desk a lot.
Mhm.
By the way, I'm very envious of you that you get up at lunch and go walk around the park because heaven knows I've got a park nearby, which is what I should be doing as well. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. What types of education is available, if they know the answer to this, for families with young kids and really educating them about why nature is so important?
Locally, our Oliver Nature Park team is spectacular. We have youth and even adult education programs running year round, primarily targeted for locals to be recurring. But if
Mhm.
you're visiting in town, you're more than happy, more than welcome to check out the calendar and hop in. Bird identification, leaf identification, bug identification, conservation areas. We have an annual monarch festival that we have at Oliver Nature Park, kayaking classes. Oliver Nature Park actually involves two different, essentially, it's the merging of two different biomes in the area. And
Mhm.
there's these beautiful rock cliffs that go into a nearby creek that they can educate you all about. Then over at Cedar Hill State Park, which is again our local backyard state park, obviously all the stuff you can expect there, the tours. They have a very historic farm out there that you can go to and tour that where they'll tell you all about Texas farming and homesteading back in the 19th century. We actually have a historic home as well that is right next to it's kind of a part of our park system. It's right next to our dog park where our founder lived, and we've got regular education programs there that, again, will teach you all about how exactly did somebody walk into this brutal environment known as Texas in the 1800s and somehow survive. I don't know how. I lost my air conditioning for one day this last year, and I'm like, nope, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm leaving the entire state, and they somehow stuck it out and started an entire community.
Okay. I was actually thinking about that as you were chatting. And how hot does it get in Texas in the summer?
Well, we've had a couple of real hot summers in a row. We didn't break any of our records, but we were hitting last summer 110 on pretty
Okay.
regular occasions. Now, that's a pretty hot summer for us. This was a lot milder of a summer. We only crossed 100 degrees 20, 25 times in the area. We can
Okay.
hit 40 or 50 sometimes, but the worst of it, we can hit that triple digit plus some then, and it can wear on you. But then since we're in North Texas, come winter, it's freezing cold. We're always guaranteed 3 or 4 ice days a year. So you've got to have a strong backbone summer and winter to get through it all.
Okay, this reminds me of where I grew up in the Midwest. You got a little bit of everything here in
Hmm.
Las Vegas. We're brutal in the summer, and right now it's chilly. That's why I have my wool sweater on. But is the heat is it a dry heat or a humid heat?
It is a humid heat.
Okay,
That North Texas humidity, it kicks in. And so, yeah,
okay,
we do like to say folks will come in from Arizona and we'll be like, oh, no, no. I know it says it's 5 degrees hotter in Arizona, but you're going to feel it more here.
okay. I see. I have to share, Tim. I may have done this when we had our discovery call. Is I'm always looking for my next place to live. I don't know if I could deal with heat plus humidity. I just have gotten used to the dry heat, but you add in that humidity. I don't know. So if we were to go out, say another hour from Mansfield, from the state parks, what would I be seeing a little further out if I were to want to explore?
What's interesting is it all depends on which direction you go.
Okay.
Everything an hour north of us, an hour and a half north of us, is what we call the Metroplex.
Right.
Essentially, if you're driving south into Texas from Oklahoma, around an hour in, you hit the start of the Metroplex. And well,
Mhm.
if traffic's what it usually is, 3 hours later, you leave the Metroplex.
All
So you
right.
can hit, within an hour, you can hit all that stuff up north that you see on TV when you're watching football, when you're just researching the area. You go an hour south, and I like to say we are the gateway to the rest of Texas.
Okay.
You drive 1 hour south, or you drive 10 minutes south, and it's open plains, longhorns, cows, barns, hay bales. It is what you imagine that Western Texas feels. So we are where, in my mind, the Metroplex ends. So you head south and you can see all that. You get out. We talked in the Discovery Call a little bit of dark sky area.
Right.
If you want to look up and see some stars, do some camping out there. Obviously, we're drive about an hour and a half, and you get down to Waco, Texas. That's the next big place. The home of Chip and Joanna Gaines. That's where it's most famous for now. So we really are a very unique area where, again, 20 minutes north, you are in the heart of everything happening in North Texas. 20 minutes south, and you would never believe that there could be any life around you.
Okay, fair enough. Now, when you and your family go out and explore, where do you usually, besides walking the park at lunch, where do you go out and explore?
We really like our little Main Street area in
Hmm.
Mansfield, and primarily because that's the best place to grab some local bites. That Main Street Tacos is one of our little taquerias down there. My wife absolutely loves it. At least once a month, I get the text. It's like, I'm not making dinner tonight. Meet me at Main Street Tacos. And there's all sorts of places to eat down there. A amazing chop house that just opened in the last 2 years that some are already calling the hidden jewel of Mansfield dining. You would never expect to have a top tier chop house right there in the middle of Main Street. So that's where we go a lot
Okay.
locally. Other than that, we hit all the typical family spots at the Fort Worth Zoo. My wife's actually hitting that up today with our 2-year-old. I
Okay.
think it's been voted the best zoo in America several years in the past. And so that's just around 20 minutes from Mansfield as well. And so that's one of our go-to places, especially when you got a 2-year-old that's obsessed with giraffes.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, we will provide the backlinks to the taco joint. Hopefully, they have a Facebook page or a website,
Mhm.
the Chop House, and the zoo. Now, I am also curious. As folks are coming into Mansfield, or coming through Mansfield, and they're saying, "Oh my God, it's great to be out of the metroplex, the traffic, and it's like fresh air, big blue skies." And what have been your kind of your aha moments when people tell you or ask you or share with you about their experience coming into the Mansfield area? What's been
You
their
know, yeah, well, probably one happened this year because it was an event that I had literally been planning for over 3 years, which was we were in the path of totality this year for the total eclipse. I was obsessed with it ever since we had the partial one back in 2017. I knew we were going to have it in this area. I had been obsessed with it, and so I pitched that very early on to the team back in like 2018, 2019 of like, hey, we need to be ready for this. And so 3 years ahead of time, I was booking domains, putting together promotional materials, did a full year blitz to make sure we could pitch to people of, hey, you want to come to the DFW area where this eclipse is going to be, where there's places to stay, where there's things to do, but you're not in that urban jungle just north of brown concrete buildings. And I was so happy to have our hotels completely full that entire weekend, people coming out to our special music festival we did for that. And I'm running into people from Montana, Michigan, Nebraska. And my favorite was I was walking around our watch party on April 8th and I hear people talking in a British accent. And I'm like, okay, I got to investigate this. And they just said, yeah, we were eclipse chasers. We wanted to see the one in America. And we Googled places to see the eclipse in Texas, and your name was one of the ones that popped up, and we said, oh, we love the pitch. We love the pitch of what you're offering for that weekend. And so it's so rare to get face-to-face interaction with the marketing you do to actually
Mhm.
pay off. But to know that the way we've advertised ourselves, the way we've pitched ourselves to people from around the world, it's sticking, it's landing. And when they show up, they're happy. They're saying, oh, that was exactly what you promised. It's exactly what we wanted. So that was a great moment for me. The payoff for 3 years of work, essentially, especially.
It's hard work, but it's great to hear stories like that. Now, Tim, I need to put you on the spot just a little bit. One of the features of the podcast is I occasionally like to share the screen and have my guests take me on a little tour. But I'd love if you wouldn't mind taking us on a virtual tour of the Visit Mansfield website, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
All right. So once again, the miracle of technology here. I'm going to share my screen. And you should be seeing your website. Let me move it up here.
There we go.
All right.
So the first thing you'll
So,
see is that green and purple. Those are our trademark colors, and boy, do we get noticed.
okay.
So yeah, you're in the parks and outdoors section right now, where We have listings of all of our parks in the city, that anything that qualifies as a park. To the left there, you'll see just below is the Oliver Nature Park designation. That's
Let's
usually
see.
a virtual tour. Yeah, I need to go. I need to. There you go.
Okay.
On the spot, and something's crashed on the website.
All right. So I'll tell you what, we're going to go back home. We have to keep that in because this is for full authenticity
Yeah,
and vulnerability here.
that's how it works. But yeah, this is the homepage with our rotating banner. Right there is the map. We put it front and center so people know exactly where we are. If you want to go up to the far right is the blog, which actually wouldn't be the best right now because it'll just redirect you to our Hometown Holidays website where we
Okay.
have all of our holiday events. But
Hmm.
typically, I keep all of our events in the city that's going on. If you're in the area, I
Hmm.
keep every event posted in there, updated. That's our blog post. We just became the 6th tourism-friendly certified community in Texas, so that was
Hmm.
really exciting. So this is our fall events blog, which is down to just 2 events or so so this is where we just post all the news about the city that's going on. If you go back up to the top, you were looking through the parks earlier. You can also click things to do. And that's our second most popular page out of the homepage because that is every single restaurant, every single shopping location, every single attraction. You can search within there if you look through that system right there. So yeah, if you were to go to dining, it'll feature every single curated restaurant in the city of where you want to eat. It looks like today the algorithms decided strawberries is at the front, but you can probably scroll through that. It's looking a little expanded, probably because of the condensed window. Usually that's a smaller box if you have it
Okay.
open on your desktop. But you can click through there, search for places.
Okay.
Um,
What was the name of your taco place?
Main Street Tacos. So if you just type in Main Street,
That's all one word? I should
uh,
know how to spell it. Maybe not.
let's see. I think it might just be a main ST period. Main
Main
Street, like the
ST
period.
period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Search there. Yeah,
Oh,
and then condense the window back down, and oh, oh,
oh,
oh,
what?
it's pulling up all the Main Street businesses since we searched Main
Ah,
Street. But if you
okay.
scroll
Well,
down a little bit,
by the
there,
way, you have coffee here. Coffee is very important in my life. All
Flying
right.
Squirrel Coffee is one of our favorite spots. That's our local candy shack. There is the steak location. We'll
Okay.
just keep scrolling down.
Oh my
It'll
God.
pop up here in a
I have to
second.
stay away from twisties.
The
Beck.
backyard, 30 Job Brewing. This is all on Main Street, and there's Main Street Tacos.
All
There
right,
we
there they
go.
are. Okay, so we're gonna put a picture. This is gonna be on the show notes as well. I love it. There's nothing I have to share like really good local tacos. I
Hmm.
was in El Paso earlier in the year, and it just so happened right across from the freeway near where we were in El Paso, the most wonderful restaurant. It's like a hole in the wall. And this is like, I would definitely have to be at Main Street Tacos when I visit Mansfield. Okay,
Yeah, it is a go-to spot for sure.
excellent. Now you've got some visitor guides here people can
Hmm.
just register for. Let's see what we get.
Yeah, if you click it, it should just take you, yep, right to our online PDF of the visitor's guide. This is what you'll find in hotels and events all around the state of Texas. The rat cards that you see out there
Okay, very
with
good.
your most basic information.
Oh, let me get back. Go. You've got an email sign up. I love that. So get
Hmm.
updates about what's going on in your inbox. Excellent. Excellent. Anything else before? Oh, so you're also on the social sites, Twitter or X, Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, and TripAdvisor. Okay.
Yep. I actually went to update that a couple of months ago, but our website does not yet have the X logo. So we still got the Twitter logo up there for now. But yeah, you can find all of our socials on the website as well.
Okay. And we have a little bit of history about Mansfield. You got the water tower there, and I
Hmm.
love it. And the map, I find it's really interesting is you get Dallas, Fort Worth. I used to spend time in Plano when I was working for a tech company many years ago. And then there's that big green patch down there. That looks like a park
That's us. That's us right in the middle
right in
of
the
it
middle.
all.
Okay, excellent. Well, this is great. I am going to stop sharing the screen. Thank you for taking us on a tour of the website. This is great and perfect. So Anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners about Mansfield? I mean, if you were the infamous elevator pitch, you got 30 seconds to hook me. What do you want to tell me?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pitch is kind of what I said earlier, which is we got the small town feel with enough going on that you can enjoy your time in Mansfield, whether you want to spend a few days here, but the location is undefeated. If you want to make a North Texas trip and you're not sure whether you want to go to the JFK Museum or the Fort Worth Stockyards or take in a Rangers game, well, if you stay in Mansfield, you're around 25 minutes from each of them, and you can enjoy a beautiful night in the nice, peaceful, quiet Mansfield community when you're all said and done.
I love that. Before we head out and share again the social sites and the website URLs, any final insight that you would like to share with our listeners? Something that kind of inspires you, motivates you to keep doing the work that you're doing.
Yeah, this is a question we talked about earlier. I got the prompt and I wasn't sure where to go with it, but I went in a weird direction. That there was a video game I played not too recently that I thought of when I thought of this podcast called Outer Wilds, and
Mhm.
in it you're an explorer and you're just exploring essentially intergalactic national parks. Now there's a lot more to it than that. It's a super interesting story that's all about legacy and doing things in the background that change all of history. And so that's really kind of stuck with me over the last few months, really. So it's funny when we brought that up, I was like, I'm just gonna pull something out of left field here. So if you've got listeners out there who are of that mindset, I would recommend Outer Wilds, the video game.
Excellent. Well, we'll go out and find some links to it and see what we can have on our show notes. Now, before we head out, again, Tim, if our listeners would like to learn more about Mansfield, Texas, where are the best places to go?
Really, the one-stop shop would be visit mansfieldtexas.com, the website we were just on. You saw all of our social links at the top. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. So those are all places you can find us, but that's the central location. Be sure it is visit mansfieldtexas.com. There are, I believe, 24 communities named Mansfield in America. And I've actually talked with a bunch of them on a series we did a while back, interviewing them. So make sure you got Mansfield, Texas, and make sure you've got Mansfield, Texas, not Port Mansfield, Texas, because we've
Right.
got two Mansfields in Texas as well. So that's the big delineator for us. But yeah, we just welcome anybody who wants to spend a week with us to check that website out.
Yeah, very good. Now, as I recall, when we had our initial discovery call, you asked me, did I really mean Mansfield, Texas? Because the Outdoor Adventure Series, and I'm looking to talk about outdoor adventure, and I'm sure Port Mansfield has probably some good boating and fishing out
Yes,
there.
if you want to catch a swordfish or something, you can go to Port Mansfield, Texas. It's funny, they're actually we're in the same state, but I think we're like 14 hours apart or something.
Oh yeah.
So we're not anywhere near close to each other. But I will get calls sometimes saying, when's the boat race competition? And I'm like, we've got a really nice lake we're connected to, but I don't think we're racing boats through it.
I think I can envision another piece of merch, which is Mansport, Mansfield, and it just cross out the port and just have Mansfield. So I love it. Tim, I'm really glad we were able to meet you and just kind of have this conversation, and you were open to being a guest on the podcast, even in cities like Mansfield. Obviously, you've got the big metroplex north of you. You can't miss it. And but it's nice to know a short distance away is really kind of small town. And but it sounds like a small town that has a lot of activity and experiences going for it. Good restaurants, the good festivals, and really ways to explore the outdoors, but also have a nice, comfortable place to come back and put your head in the bed. So heads in beds and cash register singing, so to speak. So I love
Yeah.
that. But again, thank you for spending time with us today.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. It was a great talk. I love talking about everything we have to offer and the natural world as well. It's always great to be a part of that community.
All right. And a shout out to your better half for sharing her studio
Yes.
with you, and so that you can have conversation with us. I think you're only the third or fourth guest I've ever had that had their own recording studio, and it's actually pretty nice. So I can tell your better half is doing some major league work. I just have a couple rugs around me and my green screen. So, but again, thanks for your time. Listen, we're going to do a real quick close and you and I can have a final chat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we have just been chatting with Tim Roberts. He is the tourism manager for Mansfield, Texas. Nice community just south of, as he called it, the Metroplex, Dallas, Fort Worth. If you look at a map, I mean, again, you can't miss those two, but just south of Arlington, where the sports teams are, you have this wonderful community. Sounds like there's some great outdoor activities for the family and for visitors just coming in and want to get away from the concrete, and you get to enjoy not only the restaurants and the festivals, but also there's some great outdoor activities like the Oliver Nature Park, as well as the Cedar Hills State Park, and then and even go farther than that, you're out into dark sky territory where you can, if you're going to camp out, you get to see some wonderful stars. If you want to learn more about Mansfield, Texas, visit their website. Visit mansfieldtexas.com. They are also on the social sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we'll provide backlinks to all of them on our show notes. We're even going to have some photo collages on the show notes. The video of this episode with the tour of the Visit Mansfield website will be up on our YouTube page. And of course, you can find us on outdooradventureseries.com. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn on our Outdoor Adventure Series pages. And of course, wherever you listen to your podcast, whatever directory, just do a search for Outdoor Adventure Series. And if you have the opportunity, we love likes, comments, and sharing. And if you enjoyed this episode with Tim today and you're excited to go visit Mansfield, let us know that as well. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day, and we look forward to having you join us on a future episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Take care now.